Owning or log on to owning.com. That's 8332-OWNING or go to owning.com. This is Bruno Smith, owner of Service Champions Plumbing, Heating, and AC with another Good Deed for Free. Our technician Alex was wrapping up an early morning cleanup recently, and he was approached by his customer and said, "Don't you guys do Good Deeds for free? My back is bothering me, I need some tables and chairs made. Can I help you?" Would he mind? We live for Good Deeds. Turns out the customer just finished hosting a graduation party for his granddaughter, and there were about 3 tables and 30 chairs that needed to be folded and moved to the shed. Alex told him to sit down and relax his back to handle it up. 10 minutes later, everything was folded and put away, and the customer was thrilled. That's what Good Deeds for Free is all about, making our customers happy. Look us up at ServiceChampions.com. Service Champions, plumbing, heating, AC, and Good Deeds for Free. Does it kill you to eat the little stickers on produce?
That has been bothering me for a long, long time.
Have you been eating them? Well, you can't get the stickers off half the time. Well, I mean, you can. You might pull some skin off. No, yes, yeah. But anyway, the point is you can. It doesn't kill you.
Still handle.
But it could be the final piece of the puzzle. It certainly could be.
Morning from 6 to 10 on Kfi Am.
Gary and Shannon. Is this a joke? I'm digging the song, though. I will say that. You know, I got in the car on Saturday. The radio comes on, and it's Mariah Carey's song, right? All I Want for Christmas Is You.
We don't say that.
Get into the car on Sunday. What song is on?
Same.
Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. I was like, oh, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Must we?
I put up the Christmas tree yesterday.
Yeah? I picked out my Christmas tree.
Well, my wife said that she didn't want it up because she would feel the pressure to decorate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, it's a pre-lit artificial tree.
Yeah, it's beautiful with just the light.
Just put it up and put the lights, turn the lights on, call it good. Don't feel any pressure.
I went out to Peltzer Pines, picked out the old fresh tree.
Mm-hmm.
She's a beauty. She's got some bare spots in the back, but...
Don't we all?
We all do.
Did you turn it back to the wall?
All sides of us are perfect?
No.
No.
And we all
Did
got
you
good
see that
sides.
ankle this morning when you got out of the shower? Yeah, you felt that those 4 days of fun, didn't you?
No, it's fine. If you want to do that, that's totally
If I
fine.
want to go down this road. Well, there is a bunch of chit-chat in Washington over Pete Buttigieg because Kamala Harris's ratings, her approval ratings, were kind of in the pooper, weren't they? We talked about it last week, the week before. She wants to do more. They don't want her to do as more. She was with Joe Biden at every appearance, and she started taking on the narrative that she was a caretaker because he is elderly and she is youthful and she is a woman, so you have that nurturing thing going on, nurturing bias, I guess. And so they kind of pulled her back, kind of put her in a closet there in the old VP wing. And she didn't seem to be happy with it from the leakings of that wing there. And as she was being kind of kept away from the limelight, Pete Buttigieg kind of came to the forefront.
Well, one of the issues is specifically infrastructure, right? I mean, we've been talking about the infrastructure bill and Build Back Better program and all of this. He's the guy who's going to be really controlling a lot of the individual purse strings on the infrastructure bill. So obviously he's going to be a high-profile guy.
Apparently, the Pete Buttigieg talk of him becoming a potential Biden successor is openly discussed in the West Wing, which is pissing off the vice president and her staff.
Yeah, it's interesting because nobody believes, or at least he's not telling anybody, Pete Buttigieg, that he wants to become the candidate in 24. But others are sort of putting him in that position without asking his permission. They're saying, hey, Pete Buttigieg might be a younger face, for one thing. He hits some of that intersectionality with his gayosity. Maybe that's another thing. His name is sometimes discussed as a natural Democratic nominee in 28, or in 24 if the president decides not to run. And here's the thing. Nobody shuts it down.
Yeah, and now the people that have rallied around Kamala Harris say that the White House isn't doing enough to minimize all of this open conversation. According to Politico, some of Buttigieg's, Pete, that's better. Let's stick with Pete. We've got enough big words on the day, don't we? Pete's former staffers from 2020 are wondering if this would be smart, considering the importance of the black vote in the Democratic presidential primary. He had struggles in courting this group last year. His political action committee, named Win the Era, has been quiet since he joined the government, but it is still working. It's just been quietly working, shall we say.
Interesting. This, as much as it's sort of just the palace intrigue that we'd like to read into some of this stuff, this is one of those issues that, although it doesn't make an impact on how the government is run or what they're doing, it's one of those things where it's probably a great idea to get out in front of this.
Yeah.
And you just dispel some of this stuff that's been going on. Because if this is floating around, and it has been, I mean, the original Politico article that talked about this was published back on before Thanksgiving. It was, I think, a Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So the fact that this is still alive, people are still talking about it, still got legs, they need to do something about it.
Matthew McConaughey went on Twitter, said in a 4.5-minute long video that he never thought he'd be mentioned as a legitimate candidate for public office. He called it a humbling and inspiring path to ponder. It's also a path, he says, that I'm choosing not to take at this moment. It was seen as a big distraction in the governor's race there in Texas for next year.
Yeah, he talked about, listen, how can I make the greatest impact with my life? Whether it's for my family, my community, my state, my nation, whatever. And he realizes the limitations, perhaps, that you would place on yourself if you were getting into politics. Even at a high enough level that you're the governor of one of the largest states in the union, that is still limiting to some degree.
Well, we have new transcripts in the Cuomo brothers saga that have been released today, and it looks like Chris Cuomo there was advising his brother Andrew, who is the former governor there in New York, in the face of all those sexual harassment allegations, even offering to help and try and find out through his sources, his journalist sources, whether more women were going to come forward, maybe even learning their identities.
That somehow, listen, would you do this for your brother? There's part of me that's like, what a horrible thing for him to have used his position as a journalist to, well, wait a minute, it's his brother, what's our expectation? Now, I would say that CNN has a bit, much more so than the general public is going to have a problem with this. CNN better have a problem with this. CNN better put Chris Cuomo in his place, because this is absolute use of CNN's name and likeness and all that sort of stuff for the power that he has to go through and find those things.
Right.
Chris Cuomo testified, I was worried that this wasn't being handled the right way, and it's not my job to handle it, okay? I don't work for the governor. I'm not defending him in this matter. I'm not covering it. You know, this is not what I do. He says, I'm worried about my brother and worried that this is being handled the best way it can. And my feeling was that, to my basic mantra, you need to tell the truth and get in front of these if you have something to say. And if you have something to own, you need to do that as well, which is perfectly fine. But this idea of calling for honesty, telling the truth, but then not being able to do this for your viewers on CNN is kind of ridiculous. The idea that you claimed that you had nothing to do with this and that you had no impact on the investigation at all is just an absolute lie to begin with.
All right, coming up next, 1 in 4 adults are estranged from their families. Kind of a bizarre statistic, and what's driving that? We'll get into it next on Gary and Shannon.
If you find a smart device that can't play KFI, maybe it's time to replace it.
KFI.
KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Time to prove it. I'm Amy King, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. People going into businesses in LA will now have to show proof of full vaccination against COVID-19 to go inside. That applies to indoor restaurants, gyms, theaters, recreational facilities, salons, and other city buildings. Proof of a negative COVID test within the previous 72 hours will also work. News brought to you by Pacific Coast Termite at 800 Pacific. President Biden says the travel ban the U.S. has put in place for countries in southern Africa will give health authorities more time to learn about the new COVID-19 variant, Omicron. He says being fully vaccinated is the best defense against COVID.
This variant is a cause for concern, not a cause for panic. We have the best vaccine in the world, the best medicines, the best scientists, and we're learning more every single day.
13 countries are now reporting cases of the new COVID variant. The highly mutated variant was first detected in southern Africa earlier this month. Director General of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, says not much is known about it yet.
We don't yet know whether Omicron is associated with more transmission, more severe disease, more risk of reinfections, or more risk of evading vaccines.
Many health experts say Omicron might be more transmissible than the Delta variant. A man has been killed, but 3 other people were able to get out unhurt when a massive tree fell on a house in Encino. LA Fire Department Captain Cody Wyerter says it happened just after 11 last night.
I've never experienced anything like this of a tree. We're looking at well over 100,000 pounds of a tree falling on its home in the middle of the night with no wind or rain.
The home has been red tagged. The contractor will evaluate it today before removing the tree. Prosecutors have asked the U.S. Supreme Court to revive the case against Bill Cosby months after his conviction was overturned. Jury selection is underway in Chicago in the trial of Empire actor Jesse Smollett, who's accused of staging a hate crime. ABC's Brian Clark says Smollett told police in 2019 he was attacked by 2 men while leaving a sandwich shop.
Smollett said they hit him, used racial and homophobic slurs, shouted references to then-President Trump, and put a noose around his neck.
Body cam video shows Smollett had a noose on while police arrived at his apartment. 2 Nigerian brothers arrested weeks later told police Smollett paid them $3,500 to stage the crime. Investigators say Smollett did it to help his career. The brothers are expected to testify for the prosecution. A technical trade school in Southern California is the first to add new hybrid and electric vehicle technician courses to its curriculum. Universal Technical Institute Long Beach campus president Anthony Pham says there's a need to train automotive techs to work on plug-in hybrid and EVs in the U.S.
We feel our technicians will be ready to take on those roles. The dealerships are already accepting electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles as part of their curriculum. So we're matching the industry.
He says UTI's new EV coursework has been developed in partnership with major manufacturers like Ford, Volvo, BMW, and GM. Jammies and bunny slippers are the shopping dress code for this Cyber Monday.
Millions of dollars are expected to be spent on this Cyber Monday. Shopping expert Trey Bob has some advice for this holiday season. Shop earlier rather than later. Experts say there's usually a heavy emphasis on electronics and travel for Cyber Monday. Christian McGrath with RetailMeNot.com says folks looking for a good deal better be ready to pounce on it.
If you're not there the second that deal goes live, you risk it selling out.
It's estimated shoppers will spend almost $1,000 on gifts this holiday season, which is around 2019 levels. Jennifer Jones-Lee, KFI News.
Crash in Azusa on the 210.
Eastbound 73 Freeway approaching Citrus, where the far right lane is taken away and things are jammed up on the 605. If you're making a ride along the 110, things are a bit sluggish northbound side leaving Manchester over to the 101. Southbound side right before the 5 hearing about a crash here in the far left lane, so things are just starting to back up there as you're heading away from Highland Park. On the 405, northbound side, things are slowing down coming out of Inglewood from Century over to Santa Monica Boulevard, while the southbound side is patchy all the way from Mulholland over to the 90. Heading into Buena Park, 91 eastbound side, right there at the 5, hearing about a crash in the left lane, so things are just starting to back up there. And if you're getting into Ontario, eastbound side of the 60 beyond Archibald, earlier crash is clear, but it's still very heavy from Central. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jay.
Well, there are upsetting issues in life. Like maybe you thought paying your homeowner's insurance premium every month would protect you, and then one day you've got an incident like massive water damage.
Yeah, and broken pipe, toilet overflow, washing machine blows up, whatever it is. You open a claim with your homeowner's insurance company, the one you've been paying every single month, and find out that your insurance adjuster is just trying to pay you so little you're not going to be able to even repair that damage.
This is the time to call Avner Gatt. Avner Gatt is looking out for you. Avner Gatt is a public insurance adjuster who is on your side.
You try to negotiate with the insurance company yourself, but you will find very quickly it's not that simple. Avner Gatt negotiates on your behalf to make sure that you are getting the best possible outcome, not the insurance company.
He and his team have been dealing with insurance companies for many years. This is all they do. They've got the experience and the industry know-how you need on your side.
No one messes around with Avner Gatt and his team. Give him a call, 818-917-5256. That's 818-917-5256. Or visit avnergatt.com.
That's AVNERGAT, avnergatt.com, or call him directly, 818-917-5256.
Ask the right questions during open enrollment to make sure you stay healthy in the year ahead. To ensure your Medicare Advantage plan includes access to PIH Health doctors and hospitals, including PIH Health Good Samaritan Hospital, be sure to ask, will I get access to PIH Health hospitals? Can I continue to see my PIH Health doctor? Visit pihhealth.org/Medicare or call 888-365-4450. That's 888-365-4450. 888-365-4450.
KFI Market Report brought to you by Bay Alarm. The Dow ends the day up 237 points. The Nasdaq added 291. S&P 500 up 61. The average price for gas in California is $4.71 a gallon.
Bay Alarm Advanced Video Security proactively protects your property, stopping crime before it starts.
Southland weather from KFI. Clear skies tonight with lows in the 40s and 50s. Sunny tomorrow, a little windy at times. Highs about the same as today. 60s at the beaches, 70s to low 80s inland. A little bit warmer for Wednesday. Highs in the low to mid 70s at the beaches, low to mid 80s inland. Then we'll cool down a few degrees as we head toward the weekend. It's 76 in Brea, 79 Lake Forest, 68 in Marina Del Rey, 84 in Burbank. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Amy King.
Jerry and Shannon, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The South African doctors say the rapid increase of COVID cases attributed to the new Omicron variant is resulting mostly in mild symptoms. Dr. Unben Pile, a general practitioner, has said 81% of the new cases have been reported in that specific province. So far, those cases have all been mild. He said there's some flu-like symptoms, dry coughs, fever, night sweats, body aches. He said most have been treated at home. Most of the new cases in South Africa have been among people in their 20s and 30s. Doctors note that that age group generally does tend to have milder symptoms of COVID anyway.
Prosecutors have asked the U.S. Supreme Court to review the decision that overturned Bill Cosby's conviction. The petition was filed today. They wrote that courts should not equate a supposed promise made by a former prosecutor to lifetime immunity. They believe the Pennsylvania Supreme Court erred when it overturned Cosby's conviction in June and released him from prison. The state high court said Cosby relied on a promise he would never be charged when he gave that damaging testimony. That was later used against him. Of course, Bill Cosby, accused of drugging and molesting a woman in 2004, spent about 3 years in prison.
A big local story that we follow, a 29-year-old father in Lancaster arrested on suspicion of murder, the shooting deaths of his 4 kids and his mother-in-law last night. 1 girl, 3 boys, all kids under the age of 12, along with the mother-in-law, a woman in her 50s, was shot.
A family sociologist and professor of human development at Cornell, a guy by the name of Carl Pellimer, has done a ton of research and found that 1 in 4 American adults have become estranged from their families, and some believe that that might even be an undercount. You go online, you will find a bunch of advice, stumble upon it, about toxic parents. Toxic parents, that's the new phrase, right? It's the self-help therapy approach that aims to empower younger people to give up on their parents. to reparent themselves, to cancel your parent. Of course, canceling is a rally cry for correcting imbalances in power, systemic inequality, and now people are taking them and applying it to their family home life.
Well, family is one place where power has never been balanced, right? I mean, if you remember the old trope that you heard as a kid, when you would ask your parents for an explanation as to why you were disallowed from staying out after the streetlights came on, whatever.
Because I said so.
Because I said so, and that was it. That was how the balance of power was most clearly epitomized when it came to relationships between parents and kids.
Now, being a parent and being a toxic parent are very different things. And in this new world of feelings and thinking that every uncomfortable feeling is anxiety or something that is a clinical issue,
or is even a physical injury to you.
Or even as a physical injury to you is really fueling this thing. The idea is to protect one's mental health from abusive parents. Now, is that important? Absolutely, if those parents are in fact abusive. But is there a trend where people are seeing discipline and calling it abuse?
Yeah.
And where's that line?
Well, we've seen this played out in, even 5 years ago. If you remember when some of the students, I believe it was at Occidental, took over the president's office, if I'm not mistaken, and they sat in the lobby because they were demanding the safe spaces and the areas and the things, and we talked to one of the kids who was there and yelled at him for being such a baby about what was going on. And in the real world, he's going to have to deal with actual physical threats and not just these weird existential threats that he claims. This is playing out now because we're telling people that the easiest way to deal with a threat of uncomfortability or pain, but uncomfortability is to complain about it and demand that it be taken away, as opposed to figuring out a way to deal with it.
If you search toxic parents on Instagram, you'll find more than 38,000 posts, largely urging young adults to cut ties with their families. Now, is the dynamic always changing between parents and kids? Totally, that's life, right? Is there a way to protect yourself from your parents if you feel like they bring toxicity into your life? Yeah, it doesn't mean you cut them off entirely. It just means you maybe set up some boundaries. Or you create, things that are healthier for you. If you have a parent who engages in some sort of behavior that you drives you crazy, do your best to mitigate that.
But isn't it one of the... Listen, I think the idea that this... You mentioned the researcher and his indication that 1 in 4 American adults are estranged from their families, but that's an undercount, possibly. I don't even know if that's an... I wouldn't describe that as an undercount necessarily, because so many people are going to have so many issues with their parents, period. I'm lucky, I don't have very many issues with my parents, right? But we're also not a highly emotional family that's going to, air out our grievances every time we get together, because that's how we show, feelings for each other if I argue. There are some families who do that, right? They argue, and then 2 days later, they're totally fine. Right. If I argued with my parents about something, legitimately argued with them, I'd be upset. It wouldn't be a 2-day thing and then we're back at it again. Right. This would be an upset. I'd be upset. I don't even know what that feels like, but I would probably feel something. It just seems like the idea of estranging yourself from your family, cutting off relationships with your parents, because we're talking about that direction, cutting off relationship with your parents is short-sighted almost all of the time. Unless, like what you're saying, there is a level of abuse there that needs to be addressed.
The family sociologist, Carl Palmer, says that it comes as a psychological threat to cut your parents out of your life. He said that he has seen scenarios with no winners, only isolated humans who long to be known and feel safe in the presence of another. Relationships aren't easy, right? Like, your relationship with your parents, no different. Doesn't mean you just shut the door.
What's funny is the Galit Atlas, who wrote this out, said that in Galit's experience, baby boomer parents are especially troubled. Baby boomers, they perceive themselves as products of the 60s social revolution. Many of them rejected their own parents' authoritarian style and followed a parenting approach that at least appeared to prioritize their children's needs, which is also an odd thing to think about because those are the parents that produced those Occidental presidential office sitters who, even though every need that they were given, that they had was attended to by their by their helicopter parents before there were such things, now they're to the point where they simply do not know how to deal with any sort of adversity, physical adversity, emotional adversity, comfortability adversity.
And he also talks about the fact that this can't be a solo project of self-help if you have problems with the family, right? That real intimacy is achieved through mutual vulnerability and by working through the injuries of the past together. And that it's worth the work, not just closing the door. Because closing the door is easy, and then it does you no good.
Right, because there's other aspects of, on the other side, I want to tell you they also explain what one of the results of this is. Yes, you may cut off what you think is the diseased relationship.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you're going to end up better.
Call your mother.
I just talked to her last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I could call her again, but
that's okay.
I'm okay.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Gary and Shannon will continue. Amy King has the news.
Prosecutors have asked the U.S. Supreme Court to review the decision that overturned Bill Cosby's conviction. Prosecutors say they believe the Pennsylvania Supreme Court erred when it overturned the conviction in June and released the 84-year-old after imprisonment. President Biden has vowed to fight and defeat the new Omicron variant of the coronavirus. At the White House, he urged unvaccinated Americans to get their shots and also promoted boosters, saying vaccination is the best defense against COVID-19. Twitter's co-founder Jack Dorsey will step down as CEO of the social media platform. In a tweet, he said he was really sad, yet really happy about leaving the company, and said it was his decision. Looks like some trouble on the 91 now.
Hey, if you want to sell your house or condo fast and easy, call Seller's Advantage. So buy your home as is for cash. With Seller's Advantage, there are no realtor fees or commissions, no escrow fees, no repairs needed, no open houses, no strangers walking through your home. They buy your house or condo for cash. David Judge from Seller's Advantage just bought a house from one of our KFI listeners. The owner wanted to sell the house. He met with a couple of real estate agents, and then he went with Seller's Advantage. He compared the numbers. Well, he went with Seller's Advantage. Smart KFI listener. He ended up with the same money, same bottom line, and no repairs, no headaches, no open houses, no hassle. He says working with Seller's Advantage was the easiest real estate transaction he has ever completed. If you're considering selling your home, call Seller's Advantage and see how much your home is worth. BRE number 01961658. Call now for your free quote. Call 888-321-AS-IS. Call 888-321-AS-IS. That's 888-321-AS-IS. Or go to sellersadvantage.com.
From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. Track in Anaheim on the 91.
31 approaching Euclid. This is where track signs for carpool in 3 left lanes shut down, so only the right lane available. Things are really backed up already from Beach Boulevard. Heading into Highland Park, 110 southbound side before Avenue 26. Got a wreck here in the left lane with a backup from Avenue 43. Heading into Azusa, eastbound side of the 210 freeway right before Citrus. Still got a crash here in the right lane. Traffic here backing up right before the 605. And if you're making the drive on the 10 into Ontario, eastbound side approaching Euclid, there's a crash in the middle lane. And things are pretty backed up there from Monte Vista. Stay fine in the sky, helps get a little faster. Time's over.
This report is sponsored by Jeff Anderson and Associates.
It's never too late to heal from the sexual abuse you suffered as a child. California law gives victims the right to seek justice and compensation. Call Jeff Anderson and Associates to learn more. 1-800-6-TIME-12011, 7% Boulevard, Los Angeles 90049.
It's time to celebrate the holidays and each other safely. No matter what's going on out there, in here your loved ones are protected. Press the contact code to keep all surfaces clean, sanitized, and safe this holiday season. From your carpet to your air ducts to your upholstery and more. We'll help keep your home healthy for the holidays. Call 800-4COURT today and save 30%.
I had 3 cousins pass away from COVID-19. One of them I was very close with. This guy taught me how to get on the line as a football player. What I think people risk, not is death, whether it's their own life or the people that are around. Take it from me, the vaccine saves lives. Find a vaccine near you at myturn.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Take the shortcut to your next great hire. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, Instant Match immediately delivers a list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stool.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask,
Could I have EPI? Sponsored by AbbVie.
This Thanksgiving, Citizen wants to prevent you from buying a real turkey, the wrong mattress. Right then, so if you're thinking of going on a mattress sale this Black Friday, you owe it to yourself to come to Sit and Sleep. Their exclusive bed match technology scientifically measures the level of support that's right for your shape and size. And right for your wallet, too. You can save hundreds, even over 1,000. And to make it even easier to save, we've extended our Black Friday sale all the way till December 5th. Save up to 50% off. Select Fury, Beauty Rest, and King Down. Plus, get $500 off comfort adjustable set. And with your good credit, get interest-free financing for 36 months with your minimum monthly payment and 10% down. We even have queen adjustable sets for just $4.99. So make sure the only turkey you buy this Thanksgiving is the one you serve your family, not the wrong mattress. So get fitted for just the right mattress during Sit Sleep's extended Black Friday sale, and from our entire Sit Sleep family to yours, happy Thanksgiving.
Will, you called AIS to save on car insurance. How did it go?
It's a no-brainer. It was the easiest call I ever made.
AIS is a no-brainer.
They were able to save me $781 on my insurance.
1-800-777-4AIS.
Hey, it's Deborah Mark. It's the season to be grateful, and thanks to the free iHeart app, you can bring KFI and all your favorite music for a walk around the neighborhood or on a trip to Grandma's house, along with hundreds of playlists to fit any mood or activity. Fan a podcast? Us too. Check out your favorites and enjoy our curated list of gratitude podcasts, from Oprah's Super Soul podcast to the Gratitude Diaries. iHeart. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
Hey, it's Dean. You know what? Maybe this is the year to make the switch from all those sprinklers in your yard to a drip system. It is the easiest and best irrigation system of all. You'll save money, save water, no digging, no glue, and you can do it all yourself. Win, 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 win.